got the sound of the G major pentatonic riff. It's a sound you're tuned to the 133rd SongBike Guitar Q&A Livestream. How's the sound balance? Can you hear my cool lapel mic? Okay, let me know in the chat. I see a bunch of familiar names in the chat. I'm going to say hellos in a minute. We have a great show for you tonight. 2 play-along songs, 3 weekly teaching features, WTFs. We got 3 of those. Topics that we're going to cover tonight include Guitar Center is going to start making their own guitars. Cool. Poets as singers. What happens when a poet fronts a band? Stick around. How about who's in town? Regular segment. People coming through my town on tour. Maybe they'll be coming through your town on tour. We have a poll question, a weekly poll question up and running tonight. The poll question, some of you have voted already. Do you have a playing partner? Could it be a significant other, a neighbor, relative? Do you have someone you play with on a regular basis? I'm curious about that. What else do we have going on tonight? Do you know Mary Halverson? A little segment that I introduce once in a while. Do you know, and I find a guitar player who has recently come to my attention, someone who's landed on my radar, and I want to turn you on to them as well. So we're going to talk about Mary Halverson a little bit tonight. Something I'm calling the Led Zeppelin stretch. That's one of our weekly teaching features tonight. Stick around for that. There's a lot going on. One of our play-along songs tonight is going to be a good intro to finger picking. You're going to have the option of playing it with a pick. No shame there. But if you want a good intro to playing with your bare fingers in an organized, structured way, tonight is your show. So that's what's going on with me. I hope you had a great week. The sun is pretty consistently been out here. The temperatures are moving the right direction. I hope it's going well where you are too. I want to say a few hellos. In the chat, I see Matt, Joseph, Chaz, hello, Randy, William, Barry. Welcome, you guys. Thanks for being here. William, you've made a donation already. I haven't even done anything yet. But you know I'm going to answer your question. I'm here, number one, for your questions. If and when you have a question for me, I'm a guitar teacher. Ask me a guitar question. Put it in the chat with a bunch of question marks like William did, and that's how I know your question is aimed at me. William from Texas says, greetings, Jonathan and everybody. Do you have any recommendation or preference regarding guitars for acoustic fingerstyle blues? Well, you don't need a big acoustic guitar. You don't need the big dreadnought size, which is the most common size you're going to find out there in guitar stores, right? In fact, you need anything but a dreadnought size. Can you play acoustic blues and fingerstyle blues on a dreadnought size guitar? I've done it ever since I got my Martin guitar in 1991. But you don't need a guitar that big, and sometimes a dreadnought is too big and boomy. So number one, you want a smaller size guitar. What size might that be? Depending on the maker, they might call it a 000 size. They might call it a concert size, an orchestra size, an orchestra model OM. Look for the guitars that have a nice figure 8 kind of shape, as opposed to the kind of boxy rectangular dreadnought kind of shape. By the way, who knows where the name dreadnought comes from? If you know how dreadnought guitars got their name, put it in the chat. Dreadnought guitars, often called D-size guitars, but the word dreadnought, there's a reason, historical reason behind calling a big guitar a dreadnought. I think Martin Guitars was the first company to call one of their guitars the dreadnought. If you know where that name comes from, put it in the chat. So, William, smaller size acoustic guitars. I'm not talking about kid size, just anything smaller than a concert size, you know. The exact wood is a personal preference. It's not that you have to get something made with mahogany or rosewood on the back and sides. You know, your budget is going to be part of the determining factors. If some of you guys have a favorite guitar, an acoustic guitar that you play, that especially if it's on the smaller side, just a little bit smaller than a dreadnought, go ahead and let us know in the chat. I'm curious what you guys would recommend for William. By the way, the reason for wanting a slightly smaller guitar, or definitely a smaller guitar, finger picking is creates a very focused, pleasing sound. you don't need a big boomy bass response, which is what you do get with a dreadnought guitar, especially if you want to make that happen. So a smaller guitar is a tighter, more focused sound, a better balance between each of the strings. Joseph, yeah, Joseph knows it has to do with a big battleship called the Dreadnought battleship, the largest battleship of its day, I believe, going back 100 years, more than 100 years, I believe. So when Martin wanted to promote its new, very large guitar, they called the guitar the Dreadnought size. But it's a British ship, and why an American guitar company would look to a British ship for naming their guitar, I don't know why. But yeah, so the Dreadnought name has stuck, but it came from, British battleship. And you will very often just hear them called D-size guitars. And Martin has models, for example, like the D18. I own a D16, a D15, a D45, right? All these D35, all these D designations. Yep, Sharky is confirming. It's the British ship. There you go. Now, why they keep making dreadnought size guitars and why that's the most popular common size, it's such a big, full, powerful sound, which is great if that's exactly what you want. And as years went on, I realized that I personally did not need such a big sound all the time. Playing a solo coffee shop gig and singing, I'd find myself having to turn the guitar down, play more lightly. But in a bluegrass band with 4 or 5 other musicians and 3-part harmony, yeah, then a big old dreadnought guitar makes a lot of sense. You got it. Yeah, William, you got it. Fear nothing, dread not, fear nothing. So yeah, fear no banjo player. If you got a dreadnought size guitar, fear no fiddle player. You got the idea. Okay, hey you guys, let's jump right into a weekly teaching feature. And there we go, right there. I believe this is something that's going to be familiar from last time. We're doing this at the moment as a warm-up. The scale page, a great way to get warmed up. This is what I've been doing with my in-person students, and I consider you guys students of mine. As usual, if your screen is black at the moment, do not fear. The screen will be full of good information in a minute. So why am I putting this up just a few minutes into our live stream? Lots of reasons. Getting your hands warmed up, number 1. Number 2, keeping the sound of the major scale fresh in your brain. By the way, let me know if the guitar volume is too loud or too soft. Okay, so what's going on here? We have 4 scales. Why these 4 particular scales? Each one starts on an open string. It's a great introduction to playing scales if you've never played any scales. And if you're already great at scales, these are going to be easy peasy and you're going to blow through them and feel great about yourself. So I started with the E major scale because literally the open E fat 6th string E is literally the easiest thing you could possibly hit on your guitar. Let's start with something easy, right? Your fretting hand, I ask that you put your fretting hand in first position, meaning whenever you need the first fret on any string, it's going to be your index finger. That's why it's called first position, named after where your index finger is sort of hovering. Therefore, any 2nd fret notes, middle finger, any 3rd fret notes, ring finger, any 4th fret notes, and there's going to be a bunch of them with your pinky, okay? Discipline yourself. Don't question why you're putting your hand in this position. Don't question why you can't use your pointer finger for everything. We got to train your fretting fingers to do what they are told. You won't regret this, because in the future you'll think pinky and your pinky will react like that. Snap. Can you hear my snap into my vocal mic? So you will benefit from using the fingers that are written on the page. See how there's an M under the 2, M for middle, P for pinky, right? I for index. Disciplining your fretting fingers like this makes you a better guitar player. Your picking hand, alternate picking, that boxy shape above the 0 means to pluck down. The V shape means to pluck up. You guys know the routine here. So anytime you play any scale, down, up picking, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Don't argue about it. Don't come up with your own reasoning on why you could do 2 downs in a row, 2 ups in a row. That's not the point. Train yourself to do down up picking. Okay, sermon over. So what do we have here? We have the E major scale. I wrote it 1 octave, low E to, I'm going to call it middle E. But why stop there? Head right back down with the exact same downs and ups, okay? I mean, literally you're just playing exactly what's on the page, just in reverse order. Up on the 2, down on the 1, and so on. So if you played it up and back, easy, little warm up. If it takes you, if you have to go slower to make sure you're doing everything right, good. It's supposed to slow you down. All these details, like road bumps, you know, demanding that you use your pinky on 4, demanding that certain things are upstrokes. Yeah, if it slows you down, and that's good. That's good. It should. It should. You're never done practicing scales, right? There's lots and lots of exercises. You don't finish doing them. You just incorporate them into your practice routine, expand upon them, and so on. See how the whole right side of the page is blank? I left that blank so we can add more to each one of these things, you know? Okay, second line down, the A major scale. What's changed? We've dropped both of our hands down 1 string towards the floor. Other than that, nothing's changed, right? 0, 4, 2, sorry, 0, 2, 4. Nothing like a scale being played smoothly, steadily. Doesn't even have to be fast. Just make every note count, right? This is not really about how fast you can play. It's about playing every note the way you're supposed to play it, and commit to that note. Don't be satisfied if your pinky produces that kind of sound. You know, don't be satisfied with that. Why would you, right? Why would you ever be satisfied with that sound? Okay, going down the 3rd scale down, D major. Watch out, there's a plot twist. The D major scale, right? So innocent. It starts off same way the other 2 did. But look at that ending. Dang it. Got to have your brain turned on. I'm happy that that scale showed up as the 3rd scale, because the first 2 scales give you some confidence, right? And by the time you get to the 3rd one, you're ready for something to happen. Why? Why does the D major scale, someone let me know in the chat, why does the D major scale have to have a different ending than the E and the A? Is there something profoundly different about the music, the musicality of a D major scale? No, it follows the same musical formula. Why does the D major scale end differently than the E and the A major? I mean, the numerals, right? The frets. It ends with a 2, 3 instead of a 1, 2. Someone let us know in the chat. Why? Why is the D? Why can't it be the same as the other 2? There's a reason why. And it's a guitar-related phenomenon. It's unique to guitar players. While we're waiting for that answer to come in, one more, the G major scale. By the way, again, every one of these scales starts on the open string that's named after the scale, you could say, right? So the G major scale starts on the G string. Hey, you don't need your pinky for the G major scale. Why don't we need the pinky for the G major scale? Someone put that in the chat. Give your pinky a little break, but we use your ring finger a little extra. Why don't we need a pinky for the G scale? I know when the chat goes quiet, I know it's because you guys are playing. I love it. I love it. The D major scale, the reason why the D major scale ends differently than the E major and the A major, going once, going twice. The reason is the darn B string on the guitar. B as in baseball. The B string, it throws off every pattern that eventually moves over to include the B string. We have to accommodate the fact that the B string shouldn't be a B string, not if it's following the same formula as all the other pairs of strings. The B string should be a C note, and it's a B note instead. What are you going to do? And we'll talk about that more. But the bottom line is, any pattern that doesn't involve the B string and everything is going great, involves everything else, that pattern gets disrupted when you need the B string, and this is a perfect example of that. And the reason why the G major scale doesn't need the pinky at all, I don't even want you to use your pinky for the G major scale. Why is that? There are no fourth fret notes. Remember, from the start, we committed to playing in first position. The pinky is responsible for all the fourth fret notes, by definition, right? And there are no fourth fret notes in the G major scale. All right, your pinky gets a little vacation. Meanwhile, the ring finger has to play a couple of notes. Here's how you can give yourself a gold star. For memorizing any or all of these, gold star. For playing smooth and steady with no mistakes. I didn't say fast, smooth. If you can play smooth and steady, up and down, ascending and descending with no mistakes, and you're using the proper fingers and proper down up, give yourself a couple of gold stars for that, right? If you're so confident with any one of these scales that you can improvise within the scale, make up little tunes within the scale, try to find a familiar melody within the scale. If you know a scale so well that you can do that, gold star. You don't have to do the exact same downs and ups as written here if you're improvising, right? If you're improvising, do whatever downs and ups you want. You do still have to use the same fingers that you used. Does that make sense? The same fingers. But don't worry about the downs and ups. I encourage you to do downs and ups, but you get to decide about the downs and ups if you're improvising. Okay, playing with a metronome, doing these with a metronome. What a great idea. You could set the metronome slow, 60 beats per minute, and play one note at a time. And if that is painfully easy, ramp it up, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, or keep it at 60 or play two notes. 0, 2, 4, 0, 2, 4, 1, 2, 1, 4, 2, 0, 4, 2, 0. All sorts of ways a metronome can challenge you, and we all should be using metronomes all the time. And you don't have to pay for a metronome. You can get a metronome app for free on your phone, and there's lots of them out there. Okay, you guys, you're good with that? That page will be uploaded to my website right after our live stream. Okay, there you go. My website, song-bike.com. You know the routine. You can head over there and get stuff, including, wait for it, say it with me, the Blues Guide. Over 500 of you have got this Blues Guide. It's free. The SongBike Blues Guide right there on the home page of www.song-bike.com. Okay, so that was our first weekly teaching feature of the night, our first WTF of the night. Hey, since we have 2 play-along songs, let's do one of them right now. Sound good? Why not, man? Why not? Let's jump right in. This will be, let's do our first one. Let's do this, the finger picking tune. You don't have to finger pick this, but if you are so inclined, either if you're an experienced finger picker or if you're new and you want a good entry, then this is the show for you. I'm going to close that and I'm going to open that. Okay, that looks good. Okay, I love this tune so much. Traditional tune, a folk tune, you could say. A beautiful tune. Wait for it. Our first play-along song of the night. Traditional American folk tune. Wouldn't surprise me at all if it has its roots in England, Ireland, Scotland, somewhere. 500 miles. The version that we're about to do is based on Peter, Paul, and Mary's version in terms of the key and in terms of the overall feel of the tune. It's not a note-for-note version of how they played it. It fits with how they play it, but it's not a note-for-note version. Okay, now I'm going to make this a little bit larger. Grab your capo, everybody. Capo at the 2nd fret. Why? For one simple reason. It puts you in the same key as Peter, Paul, and Mary. Why not? Okay, bear with me. I know this is getting really big. I know. Okay, and up a little bit higher. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so the 2 questions you always want to ask yourself anytime someone introduces a new tune, any tune, a familiar tune, a tune you have heard, a tune you have not heard. You want to ask yourself two questions. What are the chords and what's the strum pattern or the finger picking pattern, right? Additionally, if the song has any cool riffs or a cool intro or something, yeah, you want to find that out too. But my way of thinking, nothing is more important than being familiar and comfortable with the chords that you need and whatever the pattern happens to be. In this case, it's going to be a finger picking pattern. Like I said, everything you're seeing on the page, you could do it with a pick, but I really want to focus on the finger picking. Okay, because I just put a capo on, I, for one, am going to check the tuning on my guitar because I love my Shub capo very much, but I don't trust it any more than any other capo in terms of keeping my guitar, in tune. Okay, while I'm doing this, for those of you who are relatively new to fingerpicking, here's what you want to remember. Your thumb is going to be in charge of the 3 bass strings, the 3 fat strings. Whenever you need one of the 3 fat strings, it's got to be your thumb to play that string. Your index finger on your picking hand is in charge of the 3rd skinny string. That's your G string. And only your index finger. Got to discipline yourself to use only your index finger on the 3rd skinny string. Your middle finger, tall man, your middle finger is in charge of the 2nd skinny string, the B string, and your ring finger is in charge of the 1st string, the skinny E string. And you shall stay true to that orientation. You won't regret it. By the way, if your ring finger feels not confident, it will get a lot more confident from doing this song and from use in general. So don't be surprised if your ring finger feels a little wimpy. That's all right. Okay, I'm going to stop talking for a minute. I'm simply going to play the first measure. I got my capo on the 2nd fret. I'm going to grab my C major chord. I'm going to talk as I play, and then I'm going to not talk as I play. Thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index, thumb. Thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index, thumb. Again, just the first measure. Now that is going to be the basic pattern for the entire tune. It is not what Peter, Paul, and Mary do, but it fits so well, and it's a great intro to fingerpicking. Okay, so I'm going to focus a lot more on the right hand before we get started and sing and play this through. I'm going to focus more on the right hand. So I'm going to zip through the left hand very quickly right now. You need C. The next chord, A minor, only move 1 finger. You ever notice that? The difference between C and A minor is 1 finger, just your ring finger moving over. Don't work harder than you have to. C, ring finger, A minor. D minor, poor D minor. D minor is a very common chord, but somehow it gets overlooked. It doesn't show up quite as often as other chords, even though it's a super popular chord. So some of you are doing D minor maybe for the first time or the first time in a long time. Tonight's the night, man. You gotta get good at D minor. The next chord, F over C, an F chord with a C in the bass. Right now, some of you are saying, oh, I can't do F. Tonight is your night. This is not a traditional F. We're going to totally disregard the 1st skinny string and totally disregard the fat 6th E string, right? Our 4 fingers are focused on the 4 inside strings. The reason it's called F/C, F over C, is it's notes from an F chord, but the lowest sound the listener's hearing is the note C, 3rd fret on the 5th string. And because C is the lowest note of an F chord, the academic proper thing to call it is an F chord with C in the bass, F over C, that's all, okay? This is an easy chord with a little bit of practice, and it's a great way of playing an F chord. It's not cheating, it's just another way of playing an F chord. That requires no barring, right? No moment where your index finger has to squeeze 2 strings or 6 strings or anything. Is it cheating? I do not think so. Doesn't mean you shouldn't work on playing other types of F chords, but this works great. The advantage of finger picking is you're being so selective with your picking fingers that sometimes you can adjust chords to make your life easier. Is that cheating? Again, I don't think so. But yes, I could see how someone say, oh, it's not like playing a real F chord, except it is an F chord. By definition, an F chord is 3 notes, F, A, and C. And you're giving the listener an F, an A, and 2 Cs, technically, when you play this. Okay, so, and then the only other chord in the song is a G. And as always, I'm going to encourage you to do G with your middle ring and pinky so that your index finger is available. Why? Because the G chord is always followed by a C chord. Okay, so that takes care of your chords for the song. And if any of those chords are problematic, good, because now you know what to practice in general, right? Because all 5 of those chords are chords you'll want to be good at. Okay, before we get into the right hand finger picking, notice the last line. The last line has what they call a first ending and a second ending. See that little thin bracket going horizontally, that little number 1? I'm looking at the 3rd line, right near the G chord name, right above the word miles. The first ending is a G chord being finger picked. And then that thing that looks like a percentage sign, the thing that looks like a percentage sign means repeat the previous measure. A measure is a box of music, right? So you got the G measure at the beginning of line 3, and you do that exact same thing a second time. Those 2 measures make up what's known as the first ending. See those 2 dots and those 2 horizontal lines, thick one and a thin one, right in the middle of line 3? Those 2 dots and those 2 lines bounce you back to the beginning of the song. You go back to the beginning and play it all again. But the next time you get to line 3, you do not play the first ending. You skip to the second ending, which is a C chord. And it's the second half of line 3, the second ending, right? So first ending the first time, second ending the second time. And the second ending also has a measure, happens to be a measure of C finger picking. And that thing that looks like a percentage sign, which again means repeat the thing you just did, which in this case is another C chord. Okay, let's get into the actual picking. I'll stand behind what I just said at the beginning, where your thumb is in charge of the 3 bass strings on any chord, right? And then your index is planted on the 3rd skinny string, middle is planted on the 2nd skinny string, ring finger on the 1st skinny string. When I say planted, I don't mean you glue them on there, but I do mean that you always pluck the 3rd string with your index finger. Always pluck the 2nd string with the middle, and always pluck the ring finger with the ring. Always pluck the 1st string with the ring finger. Okay. But red alert, there's a small exception. Anybody know what I'm about to say? There's one chord in this song where, just because of the nature of the chord, we're going to make a tiny exception to what I just said. It's easy. It's an easy adjustment. It's an easy modification. But for the record, Your Honor, I'm talking about the first measure of line 2, the F over C. Your thumb is going to pluck the 5th string. Nothing crazy there. But your index is going to pluck the 4th string, middle on the 3rd string, ring on the 2nd string. Slight adjustment, right? So that F over C measure in slow motion sounds like this. No big deal. We're just adjusting our picking orientation to accommodate a chord, which by the nature of this chord, we're avoiding the skinny 1st string and the fat E string. We're just avoiding those chords. That's fine. And so we're adjusting our finger picking pattern slightly. Okay, so we're going to play this in a minute. Those of you who find this easy, I'm so happy. That's great. Those of you who find this slightly challenging, it's a little bit challenging, okay, this is your moment. Those of you who are just, today is not the day that this is going to happen, you are 100% welcome just to strum the chords with your thumb, with a pick. It would sound like I'm starting the C chord. Miss the train I'm on, know that I am gone. Hear the whistle blow 100 miles. No shame in that, just nice strumming chords. I basically strum each chord one time for each measure. And after I strummed it, I started getting ready for the next chord. Miss the train I'm on. You notice the lyrics obviously are right there. The lyrics are presented pretty accurately in terms of exactly where the lyrics fall in terms of the chord changes, but do take it with a grain of salt. There's been a lot of versions of this song recorded for years and years and years. By the way, in the description of this live stream, I'll put a link to the Wikipedia page all about this song. Been covered by a lot of people. It's a traditional folk song, right? It's going to outlive all of us. Get ready. There's no name for this finger picking pattern. You're welcome to call it the 500 miles pattern. It is a 7-note pattern with a tiny little gap at the end of each 7-note sequence. Bum, 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 bum. Use that gap to change chords. It's not a coincidence that I'm presenting this with a 7-note pattern that has a little gap at the end. Hey, DAC Poet has joined us. John Cavallo says, your ring finger needs some work. I bet you're talking about your right hand, picking hand ring finger. Yeah, if your picking finger feels, ring finger feels weird, it should. That's all right. You have something to look forward to when the day comes and it feels more confident than it does right now. Yeah, and this is how you get it that way. Okay, so right before we start, to finish my thought, I'm suggesting this pattern because it creates that little gap. It gives you, it's a little forgiving, right? You have that brief moment to change chords. And you'll get to the point where that little brief moment is all you'll need. You'll get to the next chord in time, thanks to that little moment. And believe me, I'm aware that sometimes you can't, there's not enough time. You have to totally stop and regroup and adjust your chord and then play again. I get it. But practice. Okay. I think I'm about as ready as I'm going to be. If you're ready, you want to do this? We're going to repeat this a whole bunch of times because there's a bunch of lyrics, a bunch of words. Okay, let's do this. I'll see you on the other side. 1, 2, 3. Miss the train I'm on. You will know that I am gone. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles. 100 miles, 100 miles. Miles, 100 miles. You can hear the whistle blow 100 miles. Not a shirt on my back, not a penny to my name. Lord, I can't go homeward this away, this away, this away, this away, this away. Lord, I can't go homeward this away. Lord, I'm 1, Lord, I'm 2, Lord, I'm 3, Lord, I'm 4. 500 miles from my home. Miles, 500 miles, 500 miles, 500 miles. 500 miles from my home. All right, how'd it go? Anybody find that especially easy? Anybody find that impossible? I'm curious where you guys all, and we got a bunch of people watching right now. I'm curious where you guys all fall in there. I tried to keep it a little bit on the slow side. Sounds, it's a pretty tune. It works well slowly. If I were performing it, I'd probably go a little bit faster. but we're not in any rush. It's not meant to be a fast tune. Any fans of Hetty West out there? Hetty West has a beautiful version. In fact, I've seen it. The song, even the songbook I'm looking at right here, actually credits it to banjo player, singer Hetty West, HEDYWEST. Her dad was a poet. Poets are kind of a theme of tonight's show. I forget her dad's name, but I think he was a poet based out of a certain university. And Hetty West is one of my favorites. Fantastic voice, great banjo player, and great taste in songs. Anyways, that's who I associate 500 Miles with. And I don't think she wrote it. I think it's an old tune that goes way back in history. But I do see that her name is credited in the particular songbook I'm looking at. So questions, comments about that tune? What do you think? Again, I see when the chat goes quiet, I'm just imagining, dozens of people globally working on their finger picking. Anybody struggle with that F over C? If you've never done it before, I can see at first it might seem kind of weird, but then again, I want you to notice that the F over C, it pairs beautifully with a regular C chord. It shares two of the same fingers in two of the same places. I find myself using that F a lot. If there's a C that goes to F, it's extremely handy. This song does not have that moment where a C chord leads to this F over C and then back to C again, something like that. But it's so easy with a little bit of practice, and it just makes switching between C and F so convenient. If you were inclined to write a song, trust me, if you write a song with C going to this particular F over C, this version of F, you're going to get so good at this F chord, because as you know, when you go to write a song, those of you songwriters, you get so engrossed in the creative process that it doesn't feel like you're practicing a new chord. You're thinking about what you're going to sing or whatever's going to happen during the F chord. It doesn't feel like practicing in the same way. It feels like songwriting, right? So you may be inclined to use that F a lot because it pairs so nicely with C, and C and F are a great classic combination of two chords. Okay, Randy says it was fairly hard, started well, gripped too hard. Yeah, it's funny. When you first start out, you don't want your strings to buzz. You want to get good sound, so you press really hard on the strings. And over time, knock on wood, you relinquish a little bit of that death grip. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so there you go. Our first play along, but stick around. We have another one coming up. Our first play along song of the night, 500 Miles. That PDF you are looking at will be uploaded to my website right after tonight's live stream. In case you're wondering why it's not loaded before the live stream, I didn't have time. That's all. When I say things like that, like, oh, after the live stream, I'm going to do this and that. Yeah, that's exactly right. Today I had a 9 o'clock, a 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock. I had 4 students, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Little break at 1 o'clock where I did some prep for tonight's live stream. And then I had a 2 o'clock and a 3 o'clock. And that gave me 1 more hour before this 5 o'clock live stream. And some things I just don't get around to until after the live stream. Barry says, if this was your last day on earth, what song would you play? And would you play with a pick or fingers? I would definitely play with my bare fingers because I'd be in a mood. So I'm guessing I'd be in a melancholy kind of mood, a pensive, reflective kind of mood, I'm guessing. And, if you're feeling pensive, it's time to do finger picking. And what song would I play? 500 Miles, little ballad kind of lament. Oh, by the way, I'll answer your question in a second, Barry. 500 Miles also, I believe, is known as the Railroader's Lament. Barry, what song would I play? I mean, by the time my day comes, I'd like to think I'd written a great song and I'd play my own song. That'd be kind of cool, make a YouTube video out of it. Put it on TikTok. That'd be really tasteful, huh? No, hopefully I would have written a song for that occasion. That would be good. But barring that, oh, I'd finger pick. What would I finger pick? Ooh. Thinking. Beautiful tune. Oh, don't know. A folk tune. I think I'd go deep. I'd go with an old folk tune. As opposed to a beautiful Beatles tune. Nothing wrong with that. But I think I think about like, ooh, what's an early tune that goes way back to bring it all home, man. Yeah, I don't know. What would you play, Barry? Any requests? That's what I'd do. I'd be like, it's my last song. Any requests? One time, a student who was actually way too young to be this hilarious. I was preparing her. I was trying to prepare her for a performance, and I said, "Hey, you're going to do 3 songs, and right before the 3rd song, I encourage you to tell people, okay, this is my last song, and thank you for listening, and then play the last song." And she said, "I'm going to say, this is my last song ever." I said, that's number 1, that's hilarious. Number 2, that should get people's attention. So yeah, so maybe I'll take a request. I know it's going to be "Wish You Were Here." Barry's suggesting "Knock on Heaven's Door." That's a little on the nose. It's a beautiful tune. The drummer cried. Legend has it that famed studio drummer Jim Keltner got choked up playing drums during the recording of "Knocking on Heaven's Door," the original Bob Dylan recording. Jim Keltner. Guy had his heart in the right place. Gotta love Jim Keltner. Yeah, a lot of possibilities. Well, now you got me thinking, man. I'm gonna write my own tune, man. I'm gonna do it myself. I don't know. Maybe something lighthearted, But yeah, if you guys have suggestions for what you would play, go ahead and put in the chat. I'm still cracking up over asking the audience for requests. Playing in a coffee shop and you're aware it's going to be the last song you ever play. Any requests? I know Arlo Guthrie was very partial to "Can't Help Falling in Love with You." Wise men say only fools rush in. I don't know, man. I don't know if you get to choose your last song. It's all hypothetical, right? I have heard, sadly, I've heard stories about people who die on stage, and it would appear that they did not exactly choose their last song. They chose their last. They didn't. Yeah, it can happen. You know who died between sets? Why do I remember this? The jazz piano player who as the fellow who wrote the song, the Charlie Brown Christmas theme song. Do 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 do. The Linus and Lucy song. Remember his name? Vince Guaraldi, right? Vince Guaraldi lived long enough to learn that the Linus and Lucy theme song, that's what it's called, right? Linus and Lucy, that it become a very popular song, which is great because it is a great song, right? And he continued performing as a jazz pianist. He was not particularly old, and I believe he died between sets at a jazz club. Barry says, "Looking forward to hear your song before you die." Yeah. Barry says there are 2 ways to die on stage. I mean, one is like to fail as a performer, right? To tell dumb jokes and play out of tune guitars, and yeah, that's one way to die on stage. Okay, hey, let's move on. Let's find something fun to talk about. I'm looking at my list here. Our poll question. Let's check in with our poll results of the night. The poll question of the night is, boom, 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 boom. Poll question is, do you have a playing partner? Why am I asking you such a thing? Hey, Barry, thank you for your super chat. Why am I asking you such a thing? Do you have a playing partner? I have a student, currently an in-person student, who regularly plays guitar with her husband. Sometimes they invite a friend over and they play as a way to live life, right? You play music with your significant other. And now her husband is stopping in to take a few lessons from me as well. And I realized that in all my years of teaching, I have had very, very, very few. I can't think of another time. I've been teaching since 1992. Another time where I'm aware that my current student, my in-person student, has a partner to play with on any instrument, let alone two guitar players. I guess it's come up a couple times, but it's so rarely that they play guitar together. So anyways, it's on my mind. Do you have a playing partner? Could be anybody, right? Spouse, significant other, roommate, family member, neighbor. I'm curious. I sure hope you do, but life doesn't always work that way. It just, right? I mean, just that's for lots of reasons. So far, 17% of you do have a playing partner, which is actually more than I thought it would be. So that's great. 83% of you don't, and you know what? That's all right. Something to think about, though. The two things are feeling confident that you're ready to play with someone else, and I hope you all do. But I understand if some of you aren't quite there yet. I get it. And then finding that person, right? Yeah. Hey, DAC Poet is bringing up a good point. Does playing with your teacher count? It does in terms of proving that you have that ability, that you have that skill, right? Yeah, it's one of my, this might sound obvious, but it's one of my favorite parts of the lesson when a student is doing their thing, whatever it happens to be, but especially if it's rhythm guitar, for example, and they're doing their thing, and I can join in. And when we're done, I point out to them, like, look, that's a big deal. You were so steady and consistent and competent that I could just start playing with you. And I wouldn't do that if the student was shaky, right? Because I wouldn't want to mess them up. So I try to really make a big deal about it because it is a big deal. And the reverse scenario is significant too. When a student has, a certain scale that they're ready to improvise with, and I can be back here doing that, and the student can improvise. How cool is that, right? So it's a big deal to play with another person. And if you're playing with your teacher and you have any moments like that, you're getting somewhere. You're definitely getting somewhere. It's a big deal. Hey, Randy, thank you for your super chat. You guys are being extra generous tonight. I appreciate that. RB, thanks for checking in. RB's in the chat now. Yeah, it's a big deal. But I've had many, many students who are like, look, I play the guitar to relax. I just don't need the pressure of playing with another person and playing perfectly and trying to match up and all that. Nope, I do this for my pleasure, and that would just be stressful. I 100% get that. So if that's you, then for you, guitar is a pursuit. Hopefully it's therapeutic. It's rewarding. It's good for your brain. You're still getting a million benefits from playing the guitar, and that's you don't need me to validate it. I'm going to validate it anyways. It's a great, perfectly reasonable approach to playing. Some instruments are more social than others. The drums, right? You take a bunch of drum lessons, you get good at the drums. Pretty soon, you're really itching to play with people. It's a social instrument. Guitar, piano. You can have so much satisfaction just doing your own thing, right? Yeah, every instrument is a little bit different along those lines. All right, let's jump into the next topic of the night. DAC Poet says it's getting out of your comfort zone to play with someone else. Absolutely. And again, some people don't want to get out of their comfort zone. Some people haven't even found their comfort zone, right? Like if they could just find that, they'd be satisfied. I get it. Yeah. Okay, our next topic of the night. I'm going to shut this down. We don't need that one. We don't need that. Okay. Did anybody hear the news? Did you hear the news? Anybody? I heard the news. Did you hear the news? The news is, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. Its own guitar brand. And let me see what the easiest way to show you this is. Well, tell you what, I wonder, um, I'll tell you how I learned about it, and I'll share that link with you. But I wonder if Guitar Center's own website talks about this. I bet many of you have a Guitar Center not too far from where you live. There's a time where there's well over 300 guitar centers around the country. I don't know how many there are now. I know they closed a bunch. There we go. I wonder, I'm pulling up their website, and if it says anything, I'm going to share it with you. And I don't see it. I thought they would share this news. Okay, so instead, but the news, while I'm looking for the best site, the news is Guitar Center is going to start their own brand of guitars, which, hey, depending how you look at it, is brilliant, you know. And now that I think about it, you know, they have a new CEO, and it makes you think like, wait a minute, why did it take them this long? My understanding is, in general, Guitar Center has bought brands and turned them into a house brand, but that's different. This is like literally a new guitar company that's owned and operated by Guitar Center. Okay, so check it out. Here comes a quick thing. I'm going to shut that down. Okay. Again, if your screen goes black, hang in there, hang in there. You're not missing anything yet. What I pulled up and I put on the screen here, and you will see shortly, if you're not seeing it right now, the guitarworld.com page, where the announcement just from 4 days ago, the new Guitar Center CEO, Gabe Dalporto, pledges that Guitar Center is going to build, quote, the best guitar that has ever been made. You know what? Good for him, man. You got to hype it. I get it. I would say the same thing if I were him. Guitar Center is going to have its own in-house guitar brand, and they're asking players for their help. They want to know what you think. I guess he made this announcement on TikTok. We're going to build a revolutionary guitar and guitar brand from the ground up. Guitars haven't changed that much in 50 years. We're about to change that. All right, man. Bold move. But you know what? Why not, man? Why not? So what do you think? I'm reading from this Guitar World article. Fans are going to submit ideas and input for free. You know, they're saying, hey, suggestion, like a suggestion box. Well, what if your suggestion is so amazing, they go with your suggestion, they make $1 zillion from your idea. Yeah. You guys see what I'm seeing? The legal statement as part of the TikTok video. See that little legalese down the bottom there? I don't know. Yeah, DAC Poet says, what are they going to change? I don't know. I don't know. But it could be based on your suggestion. Well, interesting. Well, you know, Guitar Center, they're not. I just don't have a need to go to Guitar Center too often, but they're not going away anytime soon, and so I'm always curious as to what they're up to. There's a Guitar Center about 30 minutes from my music shop right here, give or take, not even 30 minutes, just down the highway. I just don't go there that often. I don't have need to. But anyways. So what do you think? Is this newsworthy to you guys? Are you curious about what their guitar is finally going to be? I mean, you know, it's a bold statement to say like this guitar is going to be different. It's going to be, and give us your suggestions. Oh, well, I guess we'll find out. But they certainly are setting themselves up to bring something new into the world. Very interesting. You know, we'll see. Anyways, that's came onto my radar thanks to My favorite guitar podcaster, I'm going to shut this down now. My favorite guitar podcaster, you guys might know, Phil McKnight. And Phil McKnight has a channel called Know Your Gear. And Know Your Gear, that's know as in understand your gear, K-N-O-W. I like his channel, I like his podcast, I like the stuff he does. And so he put out a video just recently, announcing this and discussing this. So I'll put a link to his video in the description of this video. Interesting, right? There you go. Now you know what I know. Guitar Center, check, check, check. You got your guitar handy? Keep your guitar handy. Let's do another weekly teaching feature, the thing I'm calling the Led Zeppelin stretch, okay? We're going to get to that in 2 seconds. Did that one. Okay, the Led Zeppelin stretch. What am I talking about? Well, I thought you'd never ask. I'm going to put this on the screen. It's a good workout, mainly for your fretting fingers. A famous tune. Somehow this will get us, demonetized, so to speak, even though we're mostly going to be talking about this, but we'll play it a little bit too. The famous tune called Kashmir by Led Zeppelin. I'm about to make the screen, make everything larger. Okay, you ready? Here it comes. Big, big, big. How about even a little bit bigger? Big. And I'm going to scroll up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so let me tell you what we're not going to do. And then I'll tell you what we are going to do as part of this very cool riff, very cool exercise. What we are not going to do is we're not going to retune our guitar. At the top of your screen, top left, see how it says Dad-Gad tuning? It's an awesome tuning. Someday we should do a big part of our show involving Dad-Gad tuning. We're not going to do it for this song because we don't have to accommodate what we're about to do. See how it says 6 equals D? That means your 6th string, the fat string, is tuned down to D. That's what 6 equals D means, and the rest is self-explanatory. We're going to focus on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings, and it just so happens that in Dad-Gad tuning, the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings are standard tuning, right? The 5th string on your guitar already is the note A, and the 4th string already is D and already is G. And since we're going to be focusing on that 205 business right there that my cursor is pointing at, there's no need to tune our guitars any differently. If you were going to tune your guitar differently, if you're ambitious, go ahead and loosen your fat string down to D. So then you can play those open fat string notes, those zeros on the 6th string. If tuning down to D is not your thing, if you've never done it before, don't do it now. It's not worth it. That's not the point of this particular exercise. Okay, so many of you have heard this song and you're very familiar with the sound we're about to get. Some of you are less familiar, and that is okay. Led Zeppelin's one of those groups where the titles of the songs often don't help you remember which song they're talking about. Does that ring a bell? There we go. Okay, so the right hand is just going to be down, up, down, rat-a-tat. So we're not going to talk too much about the picking, okay? Down, up, down. It's a recurring rhythmic pattern. We're going to be talking about your fretting hand. I'm going to tell you which fingers to use on your fretting hand for this stretching exercise. The finger choices that I'm presenting to you right now are based on 2 things. What it says in the fine print under each of these chord diagrams, and also just my experience and my common sense. Is it possible that you could come up with a different combination of fretting fingers? Yes, but don't do that yet. Do it this way first, and then, hey, knock yourself out. But the way it's presented here in the fine print under each chord diagram, which is the way I'm going to present to you, makes a lot of sense, and I encourage you to do that. Okay, so it starts off with the biggest stretch. Index finger, 2 on the G string, 3rd skinny string, 2nd fret with your index finger. Before you even try to get that 5, please bring your thumb down the neck. Your thumb should be pointing straight up towards the ceiling, right around the 3rd fret, give or take. That will give you a fighting chance to get your pinky on the 5th string, 5th fret. So your pinky note ideally sounds like this. Your index finger note sounds like this. And in a perfect world, the 4th string is ringing open. You might have noticed, especially if you're doing this successfully, the 5th string note and the 4th string note are the same note. It's a cool effect. Now, it's always a good idea, doing a stretch like this, to shake it out and come back to it. You know, some of you are going to get cramped up, and this is going to be an unpleasant experience very quickly unless you shake it out. You might say, yeah, but I'm so close. I almost have it. Yeah, that's okay. But you got to shake it out. You'll get back there. You'll get back there. Okay, so there's a trick to making this sound like the real song. The right hand strum, down, up, down. You're only allowed to strum the 3 strings that are indicated there, the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings. But if your index finger is nice and lazy, it'll lean over and dampen out the first 2 skinny strings. In this case, you want that. You want to achieve that. And think of it as the index finger being lazy. It's what you always wanted to do on the guitar, but you had to arch over all the time. Now you got to be lazy on purpose. You still want to be careful with your pick, but if your pick happens to hit the 2 treble strings, no music is going to come out, no bad notes. I did down, up, down, down, up, down. Okay, now give yourself a break, shake it out a little bit. The hard part's over. It's going to start getting easier now. The next grip, 3-0-5, they're calling it a B flat over D. The next grip, still with the index finger on the 3rd string, but index finger 3rd fret on the 3rd string. It was on the 2nd fret, just glide up to the 3rd fret on the 3rd string, and switch over to the ring finger. The ring finger on where the pinky used to be, 5 on the 5th string. Yeah, RB is saying you could dampen out the 6th string with the little bit of skin from your ring finger. And yeah, RB, you're totally right. It's possible. I didn't bring that up because I felt like I don't want things like that to seem like obligations. And then people are like, oh my God, I got to do 9 things. 6 things are enough. Now I got to do 9 things. Plan B would be to have your thumb reach over and dampen out that 6th string. The reason why you want to dampen any strings on a song like this is so that your picking hand can be carefree and just, bang on stuff. Without the stress of trying to make sure you only hit 3 strings, right? So fretting hand dampening is a game changer, but that doesn't stop us from trying to be really accurate with the pick at the same time, Okay, so 3-0-5, index and ring. 4-0-5, index and middle. So what's happening consistently? Index finger is just moving fret by fret up the G string. What's happening on the A string is constantly changing. Your pinky was on the 5th fret. Then it changed to the ring finger on the 5th fret. Then it changed to the middle finger on the 5th fret. So the biggest stretch is in the beginning, but hey, these are all slightly hard stretches, as well. It's just that they get a little bit easier once you get past that first. Officially, they called it a D5, a D power chord, that very first 2-0-5. Okay, so again, my nickname for this is the Led Zeppelin stretch. We're not done. No. We left off. Index finger 4 on the G string, middle finger 5 on the A string, 4 and 5. Now that should feel pretty doable. Again, though, try not to dampen out the fourth string in between. In fact, I would say let's take a step back. Just getting 3 good sounds. Forget the strumming business, the down. Just getting 3 good sounds. That's great. If you can do that, you're well on your way. You know what I mean? That alone is enough. So you can divide an exercise like this into 2 things: a big focus on the left hand, and then secondarily getting into the strumming. Okay, so we left off on the 4-0-5, the index and middle. Now guess what? The middle finger can stay on the 5th string, 5th fret. 5-0-5. Ring finger is going to take over on the 3rd string. Ring finger 5 on the G string. Not much of a stretch at all, right? Okay, line 2. We're almost done because line 2, there's only one new piece of information. 5 on the 5th string with the index now, 7 on the G string. I feel really good about my pinky reaching up to that 7 on the G string, index and pinky. They're suggesting index and ring finger. It's doable, but I'm going to give you a pass, and I'm giving myself a pass. If the pinky just feels better and works better, go for it. There's no reason not to use your pinky right there. No pressing reason. No pressing reason. By the way, how do when I keep saying, in the fine print, they're telling us which fingers to use. Underneath every one of those chord diagrams are little teeny tiny 1s and 4s and 2s, little teeny tiny. There's 2 little numbers under every chord diagram. And those numbers tell you which finger on your fretting hand to use. 1 meaning index, 2 middle, 3 ring, 4 pinky. So I am following their suggestions there. Can you see that fine print? You know what I'm talking about? And the one exception is that beginning of line 2. Okay, so as far as I am concerned, to me, this is a guitar teacher's dream. It's a famous song that's just hard enough that, you got to stop and work at it. It's very unique. It still fits the category of rhythm guitar. It's the rhythm guitar part of the tune. You can't. It's to me, that gives it extra value. It's not some guitar solo that someone did on a whim. No, man, this is like the song is built on this. I would go as far as to say it's easy to imagine the guitar part came first, and Robert Plant came along and sang on top of it, right? I have no reason to think or to even imagine that the opposite happened, that Robert Plant was humming a tune, and Jimmy Page said, oh, keep humming. I'm going to come up with a guitar part. It's easy to imagine it's the exact opposite. Jimmy Page was like rocking out. Not quite as sloppy as that. And and then John Bonham came in with the drums, and Robert Plant was like, okay, yeah, I can work with that, and built the song from there. It's easy to, when a guitar part is so specific and powerful like this, it's easy to imagine that that's how the song was built, Okay, this is not easy, but it's a very cool exercise, and you get a cool song when all is said and done. What you're looking at there is the heart of the tune. Admittedly, it's not the entire tune. So that's about all I wanted to say about it. For the record, if you want to loosen your fat string down to D, then you can see all those zeros that get interspersed. Well, essentially, those zeros are happening almost like little buffers as your fretting hand is changing to a new position. Does that make sense? It's almost 100% of the time, that's when the open 6th string occurs, is when your fretting hand needs a second to get to the next chord. I'm not saying that's why he did it, but it fills the space, really well. Okay, any questions about that right there? Whether you're a Led Zeppelin fan Oh, Randy, is that right? Randy says there's a scene in a documentary where Jimmy Page talks about this specific riff. Is that right? I saw that documentary so long ago. A documentary called It Might Get Loud. It Might Get Loud. And Jimmy Page, The Edge from U2, and Jack White, known for being a member of the White Stripes and that famous song, Seven Nation Army, and lots and lots of other songs and albums that he's done as a solo artist. The documentary was about those three guitar players, and it's called It Might Get Loud. And that's great, Randy. I wonder if you remember a little more detail about what Jimmy Page was talking about with this riff. I'm curious. Maybe you're just saying, don't you love that riff from Kashmir? It's a great riff. But I'm curious. Like I said, I haven't seen that documentary for a long time, but it's a fun documentary and I recommend it. Okay, I'm going to wet my whistle. I got my cider. Oh, I got my cider. What are we looking at? The same old, right? Same old cider today. From New England Apple Products, Leominster, Massachusetts. That's who did the pressing and bottling for Lyman Orchards. All right. My whistle is wet. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that. There you go. Very nice. And close. All right. Hey, I'm here for your questions. Ask me a question. And after I answer that question, I think it'd be a good time for our next play along song. Randy says, I think Jimmy Page said that Kashmir thing started off as the ending to a different song. Oh, interesting. Fun. Yeah, man. You know, parts is parts. You know, you find something that is that powerful and that good. And I can imagine someone saying, oh, that's too good just to be the outro of something. Fun. Right, now you make me want to go and watch that again. Very cool. Oh, while I'm waiting for your question, I got three. I'm going to bang this out quickly. Three student quotes of the week. Three of them. Just a bumper crop of quotes. And in fact, there's even a couple that I forgot to write down. A couple of students said cool things, and I forgot to write them down. And then they were lost. I told you about the husband and wife who come independently for lessons. And when the husband came in for his lesson, the music he brought with him had a cool little post-it his wife had put on there. And she put this little post-it on his music, and it says, bring to lesson. She wanted to make sure he didn't forget it. So she put on this neon yellow green post-it, bring to lesson. And he did. But that was kind of a charming, moment. Like, oh, there you go. His wife wanted to make sure that he asked me how to play a certain song and didn't forget to bring the papers and all that kind of stuff. Kind of adorable. Second student quote of the week. Maybe even more adorable. My student made me a book. She made me a book. Yeah. It says, to Mr. J from Ava, Corner Music. That's page 1. Page 2 is that picture right there. Oh man, she got it right, man. This is when she comes in the music shop. This is what she sees. She sees the piano. She sees she got the accordion. There's the one of my accordions right there. Drum set. I mean, this is practically to scale. This is darn accurate. I think that's her guitar because her guitar is bluish. And I think that one is a banjo right there because she's tried my banjo before. And then the book, it's still going, man. Third page, this is us. I mean, obviously it's us, but her mom is watching the lesson. There's my student. And there's little old me. And she made sure I knew it. It says you right there. You. That's me right there. That's what I look like when I teach. Yeah, man. So that's the second student quote of the week. It's a whole book. It's not just a quote, it's a book, man. Yeah. Third student quote of the week. I hate to say it's my favorite of the three, but it made me happy in a different way. Love this so much. I'm working on Hotel California with a student. And you guys know the guitar part for Hotel California is not easy, but you know, it's these chords that are not super difficult chords. It's all about picking the individual strings exactly like the Eagles do in their recording. That's what makes it a little bit tricky. And so, not for the first time, I said to a student about Hotel California, I said, look, think of it as 8 little projects, 8 measures, and that's your intro and verse of Hotel California. Don't think of it as you're learning this big epic Eagles song. That's overwhelming, right? Think of it as 8 little jobs, and you work on one at a time. And you know, and I feel strong that's an extremely smart way to work on lots of songs, including Hotel California. Okay, so I said, hey, for the fun of it, I'm gonna have you play each measure for 1 solid minute, over and over again, 1 solid minute, and then take a breath, and then we'll do it for the next measure. And in a little more than 8 minutes, you'll have worked your way pretty intensely on the note for note intro / verse of Hotel California. So he was doing it. It was great. And on one of the measures, you know, right before my eyes, he's getting better and better. 15 seconds. You can get a lot done in 60 seconds. I feel strongly about this. And, you know, he was getting better at it. And the clock buzzed out. And he said, oh, one more time. He didn't want to stop doing it. Oh, he didn't want to stop playing because he was getting better. Oh, made me so happy. He said, oh, one more time. Like he didn't want me to stop him to go on to the next measure. He wasn't done mastering that measure. Oh, it made me so happy. So Matthew, thank you for that extra student quote of the week. That's the right attitude, man. If you find yourself doing something and you don't want to stop, hopefully it's because you feel like you're getting a little bit better every time. That's a happy place to be. So there's your student quotes of the week. 3 very different quotes that all came from the heart. As a husband from the previous quote of the week story. So, all right, let's do this. I'm going to close this out. Okay, yet to come. Don't go anywhere because we still have not talked about, but we will. Poets. When a poet fronts a band, what happens? So we're going to talk about that before the end of the show. We're going to talk about piano style accompaniment. When you as a guitar player have to play the chords of a song, but it's a piano song, what do? Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about that. We're still going to talk about who's in town. A lot of stuff. Okay. Check. Our next play along song. Now, I can't believe we never did this one as a play along song. We covered this, and I'll tell you more in a second. Okay, our play along song right now. There it is. From the pen and the vocals of Ben E. King, with help from Liebert and Stoller. The song Stand By Me. Now, some of you might be saying, wait, I think we did this song already. I thought the same thing. But you know what it was? Way back when. I mean, I'm talking about Livestream 2, 3, 4, way back when. I believe I presented this song to you guys as the Stand By Me challenge. Multiple ways of playing this song. To tell you the truth, I don't remember all of that lesson. I have it filed away in my file cabinet. But I think it was before we were doing play along, sing along things like we are going to do right now. So tonight's the night, man. I'm going to put a capo behind the 2nd fret, and I'm going to play G, E minor, C, and D. If you are ambitious, if G, E minor, C, and D are too easy for you, then play it without a capo, and you're going to be playing A's, F sharp minors, and there's the diagram for F sharp minor, D's, and E's. That's better. Okay. So either way is okay with me, but I'm going to be doing it the capoed way. Okay. So that is the entire chord sequence for the entire song. It's a guitar teacher's dream. It's also a reminder that you can write a timeless, beautiful tune with a chord progression that just repeats over and over again. 4 straightforward, easy chords. If you have ambitions to write beautiful music, do it. Do it. You don't need to learn how to play every chord in the world. You don't need crazy strum patterns. You don't. Helps to have great voice, helps to have a sincere message, helps to be original, all that stuff. By the way, in the description of this live stream, I'm going to include the Wikipedia page about this song. I think there was a Sam, I learned that there was a Sam Cooke gospel tune that inspired this one. And you can read more about that in the from that link. Okay. So technically, you don't have to play G Jonathan's way, because G does not lead right to C and C does not lead right to G. So for once, play G however you want to play it. Go crazy. I don't mind. G for 8 counts. See those slash marks? G for 8 counts, 4 plus 4. E minor for 8 total counts. C for only 4, D for only 4, and then back to G for 8. Notice the G chord acts as bookends. You play at the beginning, you play at the end. When the song goes back to the beginning, you're still on G, right? So that G chord takes up a lot of the song. Whatever you do, don't get to the end of the chord sequence, strum that G chord, and then immediately jump to the E minor. You got to go back to the beginning and stay on the G chord, okay? When the night has come, here comes the E minor, and the land is dark, and the sea moon is the only light we see. Now stay in the G, right? Well, I won't be afraid. Okay, so my point is, you know, it's a common mistake. It's an understandable mistake, but the G happens twice as long as you might think it's going to happen. Okay. The song does not have a distinctive identifiable strum pattern. That's great. That gives us options, right? When you play along with the recording, when you play it for yourself with friends or family, you have some options, right? Those little slash marks simply indicate how many beats each chord lasts for, you know? They don't necessarily mean anything regarding the exact strum. So what am I going to suggest? You can't go wrong with a good old down, down, up, up, down. Just a nice folk kind of strum. You could do that strum down, down, up, down. That little amount equals or takes up 4 beats. So you do it once for the first G, once for the second G, excuse me, and then same thing with E minor again. Only this much on the C, down, down, up, down. And it's already time to go to the D, down, down, up, down. And now you're going to settle into the G for a long time. Boom. Back to the beginning, right? Okay, let's call that option 1. That casual, folky, down, down, up, down kind of strum. Sounds great for this song. Plan B is a little more intense, not necessarily harder, but a little more contemporary sounding, fits the song, fits the vibe of the song a little bit better. I'm just doing down strums. It's how I'm doing the down strums. The rhythm, bop, 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 little groove there, right? Bop, bop. I'm also catching the chord when I'm done so it doesn't ring. That's just my picking hand snapping back and touching the strings so they don't ring. There's no big secret to it. There's no finesse. You strum the chord, and as quickly as possible, the squishy side of your hand just dampens the string. You could do it with power chords. A G power chord sounds even more contemporary. we're not going to get into the exact power chords right now. I mean, where to play them, but just know that's an option. If you're a power chord kind of person, you could do that. All right. Considering it's a nice, simple tune, I've probably said too much already. So in case I didn't make it clear, capo at the 2nd fret if you are going to play what I'm doing, the G, E minor, C, D, G. No capo if you want to play those big chords. If you feel like soloing a little bit and you have the capo on, the G major pentatonic scale. Starting on the fast string, 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 3. If you don't have the capo on, the A major, 2, 5, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 5, the A major pentatonic. Knock yourself out. Okay, let's do this for the first time in 133 live streams. Stand by me. All right, I'll see you in a minute. 1, 2, here we go. G, E minor, C to D to G. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light you see, no, I won't be afraid. No, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand, won't you stand by me. And the moon that we look upon tumble and fall, and the mountains crumble to the sea. I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand, won't you stand by me. Okay, a little soloing time, beginning G, E minor, C, D, G. One more time, beginning. Stand by me, oh, stand by me. Won't you stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me, oh, stand by me, oh, stand. Okay, so you might have heard a few little things in there. I started off doing what I said I would, but pretty quickly I started going that nice percussive thwack kind of sound. Just adds a little something, right? So instead of just down, down, up, down, up like that, the second down down. It was a scrape. Some people call that a chop. Believe me, there's no trick to it. My picking hand comes down. Right before my pick hits the strings, the squishy side of my hand touches all the strings, and then I scrape across. I've seen people struggle with this, and it's not funny, but I run out of advice because when it comes down to it, it's just, but put it this way, I have failed time and again to clarify this. And it's me. It's not you, it's me. But just understand there's no trick to it. Your skin touches first, and then secondarily, you do a scrape across the strings while your skin is still touching. Beyond that, I have no more information. Now, doing it fast and smooth and part of as part of this strum, that part, yeah, that takes a little getting used to. Very satisfying as a listener, right? It's like you're hearing some drums in there. My other bit of helpful information is, as soon as you accomplish that, I'm doing it on the G chord right now, the very next thing is an upstroke back on the open ringing strings. Chop up. So if you're working on this, and you should because it's a very cool thing, you might as well do both of those sounds. The chop, the dead downstroke, and right away the upstroke. Don't do just the chop because you need that upstroke to be part of the whole movement, the choreography. So then you might have heard I switched over to the power chord version. I threw in a few little bass note runs, which to my memory are pretty much in keeping with what we hear them doing in the song. I don't think it's the guitar doing it. I think it might be the bass. I think it's the bass doing it. To me, it sounds like an upright bass in that song. Little bass note runs. So many possibilities, especially when a song, when like what you see is what you get, right? There's the chords. That's it. That's a whole song over and over again. It opens up a lot of opportunities for creativity. Because ideally, you're not stressed out about all the bizarre chords and the verse, pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, all that stuff. Like, no, none of that is happening. So you can then devote your musicality to putting in cool little things. Okay, what do you think? Kind of easy. A lot of possibilities there, though, for making it fancier. Okay, so there you go. And again, that is another PDF that will be uploaded to my website momentarily. All right. I'm just checking to see what you guys are talking about in the chat. Talking about different people who have done different versions of this. Very cool. Excellent. Hey, don't forget to give the live stream a like. Makes me feel good. And remember, I can't like it until this is done. But you can like it right now. And I do like my live stream when it's done. I like it. I like a lot of things when I'm done with them. It feels great. We had a beautiful day today. I think today was the weekend day. I think tomorrow is going to be okay. But today was the day to be out and about. Although it was windy. Man, was it windy. I could see my neighbor, the Italian restaurant next door. I could see their flags flying in the breeze, man. That's how I know that's probably in my best interest to stay inside, and not risk it. Okay. Now, we have a few more things before we wrap up, so don't go anywhere. I'm just making sure I got my ducks in a row. Someday I'm going to get some ducks. I'm going to put them in a row. Someday I'm going to go to 2 rodeos. And when I get to the second rodeo, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stand up nice and loud so everybody can hear. I'm going to say, hey, can I have your attention? me say it's not my first rodeo. Someday. Second rodeo. All right. Yes, you're funny. Yeah. El Barry says Tracy Chapman did a great version of this song on David Letterman. I wonder what inspired that. Good for her, man. I mean, she could do anything, right? She could play any song. So I wonder what inspired her doing Stand By Me. Sorry, music fan. Music fan saw that joke coming a mile away. I know. Sorry. Music fan is our moderator tonight. Her name is in blue. Yep, I said it. Okay. Hey, moving on. Speaking of pure poetry, let's talk about two different people at the same time came to my attention as poets who front bands. And so let's talk about both of them. Why not? Would you go see a band where the lead singer, the lead person is a poet? Of course you would. Links to these people will be to their performing will be in the description of this. The two people who came to my attention recently, bear with me, boom. Not only a singer, but sax player. Hold on, that's what I want. Okay. Singer and sax player Joy Harjo. And in the link that I'm going to share, will be in the description of this live stream, you're going to hear her singing playing sax as well. The poet laureate of the United States from 2019 to 2022. Lots of medals and honors, including the National Humanities Medal, 11 books of poetry, but wouldn't it be cool to see her in front of a band? And let me assure you, it is very cool based on the videos that I've seen. The video, one of which will be in the description of this live stream. Very, very cool. Oh, look at that. I didn't know this. She is the inaugural artist in residence for the Bob Dylan Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Anybody been to the Bob Dylan Center? I got to go there someday. So yeah, Joy Harjo. So what does it mean when a poet is the front person of a band? Very, very cool. And she's not the only one. The second one, now let me see if I can get this just right. The second one from the UK, Simon Armitage. Any Simon Armitage fans out there? Or maybe you might know him not just as Simon Armitage, but as the leader of this band called Lyre, L-Y-R. There you go. He too is a poet laureate. Now, I want to give you guys more info. This particular website, the band's website, it doesn't have pictures. It does have their tour dates. For those of you in the UK, you can see Simon Armitage performing with his band Lyre. Look at those dates: Cambridge, Liverpool, Nottingham, York. Look at all these places I've only heard of. I've not been to Brighton or Exeter. I've been to Falmouth, Massachusetts. Anyways, in the description of this live stream, I will put a video of Simon Armitage fronting the band. How cool is that? DAC Poet, I was thinking of you. I thought you'd be a proponent of this. Okay, DAC Poet, we're counting on you to get a band together. And how cool is that? And then we can put your video in the description of this live stream. And DAC Poet, I don't want to underestimate you. For all I know, you already have your own band, and you're way ahead of me in all this. My ignorance has no limits. But if you haven't already done it, we look forward to that. So there you go. When poets front bands, I wish I could. I'm making a choice not to play the videos right here during the live stream, just to keep things moving along. But trust me, you want to see the videos of both Joy Harjo and Simon Armitage. 100% worth it. Give me a brief moment when the live stream is over to begin populating the description of the live stream. But I think you guys will get a kick out of it. Okay, which brings us to a little segment I like to call Who's in Town? Who's in Town? We got a whole bunch of people coming through town. I think the warm weather, man, brings out the touring musicians. David Cook, some of you know him from American Idol. Tracy Bonham, a songwriter who is also classically trained on the violin and piano, as well as a guitar player. Tracy Bonham is coming through town. Jane Monheit, jazz vocalist Jane Monheit. Leo Cocky, his show here is sold out. So you can't see him in this part of Connecticut, but he's on tour. Leo Cocky, first album came out in 1964. He's been putting out albums for a long time. Leo Cocky, kind of finger style guitar royalty. We're really just guitar royalty in terms of American guitar playing. Leo Cocky, little fact, his relative was directly involved in writing the Star Spangled Banner, Francis Scott Key. That's a very bad joke. But Leo Cocky, nevertheless, on tour, man. Leo Cocky, sold out show here. But maybe you guys can grab a ticket. And that's not all. I'm talking about just the next week between tonight and next Saturday night. Even one more performer coming through our theater here in town, Eric Anderson, and he's being joined by John Poussette Dart. Now, I don't know if you guys know John Poussette Dart. He's been writing songs and performing for a long time. Don't know if he is as well known around the country and around the world. Maybe he is. I don't want to underestimate him. But he is joining the bill with Eric Anderson. So that's, I count 5 people doing original music this week in this small town in Connecticut. That's a lot of people on tour. And until someone proves otherwise, I'm going to assume it's warmer weather, man. People would rather tour any time of year, but December, January, February, March, it brings out all sorts of talented people. So that's who's coming through town this week. Links to those people doing what they do will be in the description of this live stream. All right, you guys. Questions, comments. Oh, we didn't get to Mary Halverson. Okay, here comes Mary Halverson. And then we'll call it right there. Mary Halverson is a guitar player who keeps coming to my attention. And I'm going to put a link to her rocking out and doing her thing in the description of this live stream. She is as much a composer as a guitar player, from what I can tell. I'm going to just pull up her website right here. Her name has come up previously on our live stream. But she keeps coming to my attention. Other guitar players talking about how great she is. And I thought, you know what? Why not give her some attention? So in case you missed it, probably a few live streams ago when I mentioned her talent and her career, there she is, Mary Halverson. It's easy to categorize her music as jazz, instrumental, harmonically rich music. It's not all about her just playing guitar. In fact, in any video you watch, including the one that I'm going to post in the description of this live stream, notice how intense and focused her fellow musicians are when they're playing her compositions. I mean, if you want to see musicians who take a song seriously, look at those people. They're not sitting there strumming, thinking about what's on TV. No. Just look at their expressions or lack of expressions and their focus when they're playing her tunes. It's pretty intense. I think in the description of this live stream, is it going to be her performing a Tiny Desk concert? No, although she did a National Public Radio Tiny Desk concert, the video link is just a YouTube video of her playing live with the band. Although, you know what, I am going to put a link to the Tiny Desk concert as well, because that's even a more opportunity to see these people who are so focused. And her songs, I think it's fair to say her songs are a little bit out there. Compared to pop music, but very intense. There you go, Mary Halverson, a little category that I call Do You Know? And now you know a little bit about her. There you go, just a little bit, but more shall be revealed. I'll put some links, including the link to her own website. There we go. All right, you guys, that's a good note to end on. And I'm going to put this link right here. Paste. Bear with me. I know this is more about me than about you at the moment. There we go. All right. Enter. On that note, I think we did what we set out to do, right? I think we did. I hope I gave you some food for thought, some things to get your fingers moving. We covered a lot of ground today, man. A lot of ground. We didn't get to piano style accompaniment. Let's do it right now. Make it fast. And we'll return to it later. If you want to sound like a piano player, use your bare fingers. I'm going to illustrate this on an E minor chord. We'll talk about this more. I didn't mean to save this just for the end of the show and make it seem like it wasn't important, because it's super important. Think of all the great piano-based songs out there. Let It Be, Hey Jude, anything Elton John ever did, Billy Joel, all the great piano players, right? You do not have to be an experienced fingerstyle guitar player to do what I'm about to show you. E minor, because why not? That same orientation I showed you before, ring finger, glue it to the skinny first string, middle finger, second string, index finger, third string. We're gonna, for our purposes, those fingers are never gonna leave those three treble strings. My thumb, I'm gonna plant my thumb on the sixth string, fat E. I'm gonna have my fingers go first, and then my thumb. That's not the most common way to finger pick a song. It's not the most common finger picking pattern. But it gives a nice piano-like steadiness. I know I'm changing chords. When I did this then through a variety of chords, my fingers never left those three treble strings. My thumb changed, different bass strings, depending on what sounds best for that chord. Sometimes my thumb was on the fourth treble string, the fourth string, the D string. Sometimes my thumb was on the fifth string. Sometimes my thumb was on the sixth string. It all depends on the chord. It's a quick and easy way to get that piano kind of vibe, right? It'd be cool to do this with a specific song. So let me give some thought to what the best song would be to apply this pattern for our purposes here in the live stream. Don't wait for me. Write your own song. Whatever you consider to be easy chords, start with those chords. The most important thing, fingertips first, all plucking at the same time. I'm going back to E minor. And then the thumb stroke. 3 fingers on 3 strings, thumb. Okay, that's the most important thing, that have those fingers go first. Okay, to be continued. All right, on that note, I'm going to wish you guys a great week. Good luck with taxes. Those of you who are finishing up your taxes in time for the United States Tax Day on the 15th. Good luck with all that. My heart, believe me, my heart is with you. Hope you guys have a great week. Hope spring is coming to your neighborhood. Hope you have lots of chances to play the guitar. Our final poll results, 80% of you do not have a musical partner to play with. I get it, but 20% of you do. Yeah, and maybe the 80%, among the 80% who don't have a partner to play with, maybe some of you are okay with that, and I get that too. All right, so that's our poll result for tonight. Thank you for voting. Thank you for being here. I'll see you guys next Saturday. All right, take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. My weekend begins now.